Greetings, Earthlings. Yes, it's the spooky, erotic, jazz-infused Halloween special of magical fun time with Dr. Ergo Phizmiz and Depresstival here on Sound Art Radio, which will feature, yes, an hour-long interview with the great American sound collagist Jon Nelson. But to kick off a veritable cornucopia of delights, here is what is, in my opinion, a very, very beautiful song, hot off the presses, an October song by our wonderful and beautiful friend, Peter Cant.
If I pinpoint the pain points to people. If I'm satisfied, people means me. First the words feel so old, then they're warm, then they're cold. Still they stir and they stratify me. Yeah, words keep on coming for me. Once I'm through with the floor, I move on to the earth, and we thresh out some kind of truce. But the words look like lies. I don't recognize the shape of my mouth or its use. Not the shape of my mouth nor its use. To those I have read who said, write your songs in one sitting, so the lyrics befitting the tune. I tend to agree, but my poetry is pitting itself against quitting too soon. If your poetry's quitting too soon, lose your place in the tree to the moon. Take it from me, change your place in the tree to the moon.
Hey, Lottie.
Hey, what?
Who, out of all of them, the living ones, is your favourite dictator?
Oh, how are we defining favourite?
Well, you know, your favourite, let's say, who's the jolliest one?
I mean, definitely Little Father.
Little Father, right? And so I've been thinking quite a lot about Little Father, and
I mean, I think he's got the best music, but actually, no, wait a minute, Stalin had some pretty good music.
He did,
anyway,
he did.
Shostakovich.
But between, like, Little Father, like, if you were going to meet him, it's a bit of a hazard, apparently. It's quite dangerous, isn't it? Apparently. So I was wondering if we, here on the radio, could accumulate just a list of things that would be safe to do when you meet Little Father. So activities that would be safe to do, because, for example, it's more complex than it initially sounds, because I've heard that my Little Father, he loves music, you know, he loves it. It makes his heart sing. So you might think, oh well, you know, cool. Well, I'll go and play a bit of violin to Little Father.
Yeah, I'm not very good at violin.
But the fact is, a note might slip, and that might be the end.
It wouldn't go well
for you. So I was racking my brains earlier, trying to think of activities that would be 100% safe to do around Little Father that he'd like, right?
Like crafts.
Yeah, I think
sort of crafts type stuff.
Possibly, but if he took sudden, because. Like, is he a guy who just has rage blackouts? You know,
I don't know.
Do they all? Exception to
do you think they all have rage blackouts, or is it like rage consciousness? I mean,
rage consciousness.
It's difficult to tell, isn't it? Because the glaze in their eyes really looks like when people are aroused sexually, so it could be one of the two.
Yeah, but also
it's probably both.
If you are like doing for Little Father, if you're doing like a dog show for him, well, his history with dogs is well, it's not as bad as Hugh Hefner or someone else I know, but it's not the best neither. He's not known, nor is his uncle apparently known for having the best time with dogs. So I think dogs are out.
I know what you could do.
What?
That's safe. You could make lovely images of like a sun rising over a cornfield with like a hydraulic power station in the background.
So you could present him with the image, or would you draw it in front of him?
You can. Well, I mean,
because I'm on about like
that's maybe a bit too much pressure.
If you met with him, and you had to pass some time with him, and you want to make sure that you're not going to be executed. So you've got to find a way of, like, say, passing 5 minutes.
Right.
This is my idea for a new television game show.
Very still.
Yeah.
Like in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, no, but standing very still, he'd get bored
Jurassic
by
Park,
that.
Just sort of like, isn't there something about how there's like facades or something in North Korea? Like, or is that a piece of propaganda?
Facades?
Like fake buildings.
Oh, I don't know.
Apparently there's a thing. You just put a fake building in front of us.
Right. Oh yeah. Well, that could work. That's a good idea. But again, it depends. That depends how interested my little father is in architecture.
I think crying is safe in front of him.
Yeah,
like with joy.
I think crying with joy at being in his presence.
Yeah, being in his presence and
he
crying.
doesn't get bored of that. Do you know what else I think he likes?
He likes standing on a mountain.
He does.
On Mount Pektu.
Yeah. He does love to stand on Mount Pektu, where my little father is from.
Oh yeah, they have got a propaganda village that's like facades.
Oh right, a propaganda village.
Like.
Do people live behind the facades? Or?
No, it's like it's a. I don't know, it's very strange, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah, so.
It's
right.
To project the image of a thriving. While everybody was starving to death.
So little father.
But it's empty. It's got lots of. It's like a fake town.
Yeah.
Like they've got in America with the bomb testing.
Do you know what I think he'd like? And this is based on not anything that I've read or studied, but more based on an instinctive kind of feel for Little Father's personality. I mean, I have not ventured to Mount Pektu myself, but there's time. There's time. And he remind me of the subject of what I'm talking about.
Fake villages.
No.
What's safe to do?
What's safe to do around Little Father? So I think what he'd really enjoy if you could guide him, because I bet no one's ever done it with him. If you guide him through the process of making some cookies, I actually think he'd like that.
Yeah, maybe.
I think he'd like that.
Wow, the fake village really looks like Newport on the Isle of Wight. That's amazing. Look how much it looks like Southsea.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Yeah, apparently all the buildings are empty and the lights are on a timer.
Oh, right.
They built it in the 50s, but it's actually sort of 19. It's very 1950s thing, isn't it?
Have they kept it there as an object of beauty?
Well, it's a propaganda effort to try to get people to defect.
Right, but everybody knows that it's fake.
Yeah, it's all very.
So
we live in a really weird planet.
We do live in a really weird planet.
I just can't get my head around it at all. It's very confusing. Like all these like weird. Like they blew up a mountain, didn't they? But just then all this like. They're evil, but then you're allowed to sort of like set fire to the climate, and that's
Didn't
America.
Donald Trump say that Little Father's a great guy?
Oh yeah, he likes him now, doesn't he?
It is, well, that was a few years ago. He might not like him now.
I don't know.
But he definitely said
He's
that
a great guy.
he's a great guy. And, you know, from looking at the pictures of him, gotta be honest,
they seem to get on.
that's the impression. No, but just from looking at the pictures of Little Father, I've always felt, well, this guy looks like a great guy. He looks like so
He's
much
the jolly
fun.
little fat
He's
man.
got amazing hair. You know, in fact, you know, if you were going to pass the time with Little Father for 5 minutes, what would be a really fly move is before you go into the meeting, I've had your haircut in the style of him. And then you'd barely have to say anything in that 5 minutes to Little Father, because he would spend that 5 minutes telling you how great your hair is. Because he's not, for all his faults, Little Father, right? For all of Kim Jong Un's faults, he's quite into sampling.
Is he?
Yeah. He's quite into, like...
Doesn't he really like cheese or something?
I don't know.
I think there was something about he's really into cheese.
He does like to sample a cheese platter, but he's not like really into copyright, so it's okay to imitate his hair. It's like in Nazi Germany, everyone started like growing these silly little mustaches, and and in North Korea, I expect there's loads of people
He's addicted
with that.
to cheese.
Oh, he's addicted to it. Oh, wonderful! But also the other wonderful.
Cheese. Maybe that's why he's going insane and killing people.
He's eating too much cheese. It gives you weird dreams. I think constant cheese is going to screw with your
that's
consciousness.
going to mess you up.
Especially if you're already in like a position of authority. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. Absolute power with cheese corrupts. Absolutely with cheese.
Apparently, he ordered loads of Swiss cheese in and Bordeaux, and he said that once he drank 10 bottles before he had a meal.
He knocked back 10 bottles of
day.
Bordeaux.
So
he's
he's guys that goes,
hardcore.
I drink all the time.
He could drink you under the table. So that's a wonderful thing.
He sent loads of his...
this is great.
He
So
sent loads of his officials to learn how to make cheese in France at culinary school because he was trying to get people to replicate.
now, why wasn't that a reality TV show?
And then he got hooked on cheese in boarding school. Kim's cheese addiction drove him to retreat from public after he received a large shipment of Emmental.
And then he just sat, just Little Father with his cheese. All right, so, well, this is great. You really solved this for me. So, if you want to pass time with your Little Father, Kim Jong Un, he of the really great hair, all you got to do is bring some cheese, some booze, like Gaza was going to bring for Raoul Moat, the same kind of ingredients.
What are we living in?
Wonderful.
This is insane.
Yeah, you see, he's the best one. He's the best dictator. You know, I was really quite surprised at this beginning of this conversation when you hesitated when I asked you who your favourite dictator was.
I mean, it's him, isn't it?
Of course it's him. He's brilliant.
He's off his face.
He's well the funniest one.
Oh, but then what about the chainsaw guy? He's pretty wild.
Well, yeah, but he's pretty wild, but he's got a lot to live up to.
Is he a dictator yet? Probably. I mean,
is he a dictator? I don't know.
I mean, was Liz Truss veering into that territory? I mean,
she would have loved to.
That would have been.
Imagine the parallel universe where Liz Truss is dictator of England.
Personally,
bring it on. That would have been really funny.
It makes no real difference to me, a recession or whatever.
No.
I don't care. So I had a great time during the Liz Truss period.
Yeah, I remember messaging my
wild.
sister saying, "Are you ready for this?" I didn't expect in 2 days the economy to have collapsed and the Queen to be dead immediately after meeting. Who?
It was great, and the Reaper costume.
Oh, the Reaper costume was wonderful.
It was the best of times.
Yeah, it was. But I'm amazed what you've done there, because I thought I'd opened up some vast wormhole of how you avoid getting killed during a social appointment with
you can
with
bring
Little
out
Father.
Liz Truss.
And no, but I mean you've solved it. It's extremely simple. You just got to bring booze and cheese.
But also, if you bring Liz
Booze
Truss
and Huda.
and put her in front of many of the world's other dictators, they will be distracted by Liz Truss, and their ire will distract them long enough for you to get away, because everybody,
that's true.
like, you know, they wanted to bomb her for a bit.
Yeah, the Russian government were talking at one point about just bombing Liz Truss, weren't they, as I recall? Didn't that happen? That did happen, right?
Yeah.
The Russian, whoever it was, not Putin, but one of his other, a Russian guy, or no, because we live in England, we're supposed to refer to all Russian people as evil Cossacks or something.
How many people in
Which
Russia?
I won't.
I've forgotten.
I'm not Russia's enemy, and
Yeah, I remember the whole
Russia is
being
right.
persuaded to not
play
perform
Russian
music,
Yeah.
and all of my repertoire is Stravinsky, Shostakovich, Prokofiev, Kapustin.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You
great.
know, I bet you,
No.
I bet you in North Korea.
And they're all dead, and they all were displaced, and they were all victims of fascism. So there you go. Then, but whatever. Apparently, millions and millions of people are all the same.
Yeah.
And everybody is like sort of like to do with flags or whatever it is.
Flags.
Don't really understand
My little
this
father,
planet at all.
right? I don't really like, as you know, I mean, I've never understood, and I don't like the flag thing. I think it's silly. I just don't get it.
I just don't understand it at all.
But my little father, he likes flags, and I tell you what, I like my little father.
I mean, to be fair,
Like, the reason we're having this conversation is my planned defection to North Korea.
to be fair, right, the North Korean flag, I think I actually do quite like.
Is it? I can't remember what it is.
Oh no, it isn't that. It's not the flag. That's just a flag.
Oh, you're
It's
just
like
on
the
about their
North
general.
Korean,
You like their general graphic design.
the North Korean logo. Their emblem is. It's well, you can see what it is. It's a way you can describe. Why don't you describe it?
Back on.
That's the emblem of North Korea.
No, actually, I need to turn my glasses off to see. Oh, the emblem of North Korea. It's a. What shape would you say that is?
Sort of like
ovular.
like cameo badge. Sort
Cameo
of.
badge.
So it's like a cameo
Flattens out
badge,
at the
but
bottom. Yeah, you could pin it on beautifully. Around the right and left top edges, coming to an inward curve from.
which one are they?
from
Nobody
the bottom.
knows.
Some lovely corn and or wheat growing in green and yellow. The top center of the image is a red star, out of which emit red linear beams. Beneath the red star is a lengthy snow-topped mountain in ice blue and dark blue. Beneath that, a white rectangular area that has a geometric shape in it, in a sort of sky blue, which is sort of the shape of like a weird number one stretched out, and a single line. Beneath that, there is a brown line with projections which come out from the bottom, small projections in a slightly darker brown. We enter into an area with two shades of brown, sort of beige, and it goes along in a strip and comes to like the top of what turns out to be some sort of I guess viaduct or aqueduct or something like that, and there are galoshings of water flowing down from the top of it, which seem to be heading down towards some sort of power station, done in nice, simple, elegant vector style, and again in shades of beige and brown and darker browns for the interiors. And that is hitting a pylon, which, as demonstrated by the black lines beneath, is generating electricity, showing a process of renewable energy. And then the water which is coming out of the bottom of this this sort of aqua hydro power system comes out in straight blue and white lines like a freshly mown rich person's lawn. Below that there is a piece of red ribbon which is enwrapping the whole thing and holding the whole composition together. It's interesting that you could make this as a physical object. Maybe we should
I was thinking I'm going to make it out of epoxy thing. Do you think anyone will notice? I mean, I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
They've sold me on their logo.
I want one.
As they said to me at Bristol University Creative Futures module, the bloke who did the orange logo and the poster for Amelie, like I think maybe just like the colour grading or whatever, he said graphic design will change the world. And as we can see from the from various pieces of propaganda by dictatorships, that really is the case.
Yeah.
Well done, graphic designers.
Yeah. So, in 20 minutes, we have solved what to do if you are ever in a room with the high god of North Korea, my little father, Kim Jong Un. All you need is cheese. What about this? What about this? This is what you need, actually. This is the definitive. So get this on a bit of paper and put it in your back pocket in case this ever happens. All you need to do if you want to be safe, if you have to have a meeting with your little father, is cheese, booze, and a Bond movie. In fact, let's make it alliterative. Brie, booze, and Bond. That's what you need. The 3 B's. Much better than Tony Blair's 3 E's, which are all the same word. That's not 3 E's, that's just the one. Repeated, repeated, repeated. The 3 B's. Brie, booze,
so
and Bond movies. And did you know, listener, that Little Father, apparently, this is what I've read, he likes to watch Bond movies and sample. I told you he was really... Little Father, he's progressive in some ways. You know, I think he's into sampling because he's got absolutely... Oh, you all right?
No, it's just he's progressive
in some ways. He's pretty into sampling,
my hair.
as is indicated by the fact that he has no problem, no intellectual property issues at all with sampling methods of murders from villains in Bond movies, which apparently he does a lot. Apparently, there's a Bond movie where somebody gets gets put in a tank with a shark, and the shark eats them while the evil villain sits watching. Apparently that's in a Bond movie. And Little Father, he was sat one night with his DVD player and he put it in. Oh, I haven't seen this one. Oh, brilliant! And it came to the shark. I mean, he was chuckling all the way through.
That's amazing.
But it came to the shark attack bit, and they were straight on eBay. First of all, they got in touch with Damien Hirst because they're quite good mates, and he thought that Damien might know where to get a live shark, but Damien only knew where to get dead sharks. And funnily enough, the place where you get dead sharks is right next door to the really, really, really bad art shop, which is an interesting coincidence. So yeah, we know how to please my little father. And would you want to go through life without your little father pleased? Of course not. Of course you wouldn't. So now if you go...
You might become very ill or have some sort of accident.
Well, yeah, that's true. But if you go to North Korea with this information, you will be relatively safe. Relatively safe.
Right, the thing I don't understand about living in an apocalypse is like all the time that I was growing up, I heard lots of people talking about how awful it would be to live in Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, but I mean, really, it's much better, isn't it?
Brave New World kind of...
I mean, that sounds great.
Well, I haven't...
They killed the guy.
I haven't read Brave New World since I was like 16 or something. I read it like once, but my memory of it is it sort of sounds like a health spa with lorazepam,
Yeah, it
and
does.
if you don't want to do that, you can.
I mean, that's insane. That sounds great.
Live in the woods, be free, make love.
The thing that they're all saying is like bad about it is like the fact that it's got a caste system and there's some racism, which is the same as now, isn't it? There's like that in loads of places. Well, the racism is everywhere, and
isn't it? Joe?
I don't, I mean the Huxley one seems like a lot more functional as a society than this one.
Yeah, I mean...
And also, isn't there a thing where you can leave if you don't like it?
Yeah, you can just go.
Live on the library island, or was that actually euphemism, like, we sent him to a farm upstate?
No, I think you can just leave. You can go,
that's alright, isn't it?
Yeah.
I need to...
If it turns out you're one of them alien-human hybrids, you can just leave the building.
I'm going to leave the building.
Okay, so it's come to this.
Homegrown on the bone, all the channels from the same old war zone. As I walk alone in the city, making me an oven and all that look pretty new cinema. Live action, all the noise of attraction beats up on the streets. Sounds to buck up better than telling them off to a suck-up shot. They don't buy it. All that matters is you're not here tonight. Now wonder, am I gonna dig a hole 10 feet under sea, under me, under you, under we, undivided, undecided. If I only knew what I could do to make you love me.
Make you love me.
If I only knew what I could do to make you love me.
Make you love me.
Up north where the snow grows colder, I travel onward, across the border, looked up a girl that I once knew frozen. I found that I was chosen to be the follower of the deity. Make myself scarce with the comfortably bargain for my body and soul. All the flames go around, surround me, I won't go. I need the ozone, I wanna cuddle up behind your backbone. I never stay long where I'm not wanted, I feel haunted. Yo brother, where you gonna go? Back to the war zone to break down the wall. If I only knew what I could do to make you love me. If I only knew what I should do to make you love me. If I only knew what I should do to make you happy. If I only knew what I could do to make you love me.
I bared my soul to the golden traces, went to the forest of the holy places.
And I wonder, am I'm gonna dig a hole 10 feet under the sea, under me, under you, under we, undivided, undecided. Wow. If I only knew what I could do to make you love me. If I only knew what I could do to make you love me. If I only knew what I could do to make you love me. If I only knew what I could do to make you love me. You love me.
Dude, you've just about killed me with that. That was the last thing I was expecting. I haven't thought about that song in so long. What, do you remember that? That was amazing. Was that have you actually found a backing track for that, or is that a custom piece? Oh gosh, amazing.
Yeah, you're listening to Sound Art Radio. We just had me singing Tom Jones's song If I Only Knew, followed by an old friend, Michael Shotton, who I haven't seen for 31 years, responding to hearing my version of Tom Jones's masterpiece, If I Only Knew. Now, discerning listeners may be wondering why we started this show by talking in so much detail about little Father Kim Jong Un. Well, clearly it's because we got to talk about spooky things, because it's Halloween.
It's pretty spooky.
Exactly.
What with all the murder?
All the murder, the shark thing and all that. Coming up, we have a wonderful interview with the American sound collagist and radio DJ Jon Nelson, who has been making sound art, sound collage on nationally syndicated American radio and lots of other marvellous projects for a long time now. And so we'll be hearing from him in a wonderful edit, edited by Jon, from our various softwares and hardwares. Are you allowed to say hardware and software on the radio?
No, I think you've got to say like
Apps.
device. You're not allowed to use any language.
So we're gonna have that. But first, we need to be just a little spooky themed because it is Halloween. Today, as we broadcast, it is Halloween, which means that right now.
It's my month.
Yeah, well, it's the month of all the goths. So first of all, big shout out to all the goths out there, and hope you have a wonderful Halloween and keep being goth. Secondly, here we are floating in the FM ether on the day where the veil is thinner than any other time. It's like one of them transparent bridal veils that you can see the bride's fluttering eyelids shimmering through. It's like that. Can't you feel it? It's thinner. If you close your eyes and hold your finger out, this would be the moment when something that you cannot see might touch the end of your finger, like God and Adam in that Michelangelo image. So it's a spooky day.
When I was last at my father's house in the Isle of Wight, I was lying down and then I felt something tap on my head and it went.
Yeah, I've had my wrists
I was like,
grabbed
I am
in
narcoleptic,
bed.
so it could be that.
Yeah.
As well. But it's funner to. Not,
Funner, yeah.
That's all right. It's better to.
I think we should
interpret
keep
these
funner.
things as a nice jaunt in the spooky world, as opposed to a neurological condition.
Yeah,
it makes my life more interesting.
But I think after 45 years, which has gone through being a child of kind of just extreme automatic mysticism. I was a weird kid, and as you know, when I was 10,
I used to get stalked
people,
by birds a lot.
when I was 10, people said that I was going to be the next prophet of the Mormon Church. When I was briefly in the Mormon Church, when I was like a small child.
Then you left.
Then I left when I was 14, and but 45 years, and I've gone through all of the kind of atheistic, oh yes, scientific rationalism is the only way. But actually, scientific rationalism isn't like, it's not a thing, it's a method, And science is always discovering new things, and the best scientists will tell you that we are at the beginning of understanding.
Yeah, and I think that the majority of scientists that I know tend to kind of find themselves drawn towards mystical kind of weirdness, because they're all dealing with fairly abstract...
Exactly.
Like mathematicians are dealing with fairly abstract concepts anyway, like the square root of -1 is a useful thing, a lot of things, but no one really knows what it means or why it... I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's already kind of quite poetic and odd.
And so, like, it is... What is always going to be exciting is the wilder fringes of science, because in all the wild kind of speculation that's possible, that's where discoveries happen. Let's not forget that they wanted to burn Galileo, and it's still the same. Somebody like Avi Loeb, who is Harvard, the Harvard astrophysicist, the head of astronomy at Harvard. He is very open-minded and is actively looking for signs of extraterrestrial intelligence, and faces the ridicule of his peers for this. But the actual fact is that through history, from prehistory, there are images of UFOs in all of the ancient cultures, and strange three-fingered beasts, and there are 300 tridactyl mummies were found underneath the Nazca lines, and we only discovered the Nazca lines when we could fly. Countless people have reported seeing UFOs and ghosts and so on. And so it seems to me,
footage of the things that I have seen, and none of us know each other. So surely that is corroborative evidence, isn't it?
And it seems to me that if you put all of this stuff together, historical things and current things, video, etc., it would seem to me that there is far more evidence to suggest that everything is spooky and woozy than to say there isn't. Can you show me, for example, a piece of evidence that there isn't an afterlife? Of course you can't, because it's a negation. But there is, historically, lots of evidence, really, that there is lots of people's experiences. We seem to have gone into a culture where people telling of their experiences is no longer trusted.
But I don't understand why, if people tell of their experience, say if you witness a murder and you tell the police about it, like, they'll probably follow, and they, and someone else witnessed it and they also tell the police about it. I mean, the chances are the police are going to go, oh, there must have been a murder, and then they can ignore it and not do anything about it.
Yeah.
But I don't, what I mean? That's like two different people seeing the same thing. Well, no, sorry, I'll just clarify the last point. They'll ignore it and not do anything about it if you're part of particular demographics, but if you're part of another demographic, they'll go and follow it up. So yeah, I mean, I don't understand why sort of two people observing the same thing is evidence in every other situation apart from something that might knock us off of the top of the food chain. But also there's that, everyone talks about like the Fermi paradox, as in like why hasn't any, you know, what is it? The argument is the conflict between the universe's vastness and the fact that we haven't seen any life or but like we have seen loads of it. I don't understand, like everyone's sort of saying there's no evidence for it, but like if I see something that I've never seen anywhere else parked in the sky, and then like numerous other people also film and describe the same thing, and it's in sort of various bits of admin in government files, a description of this triangular craft with a big white light in the middle and one red light on each corner, and multiple people have described the same way it behaves and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So what is it? What are we all making it up? The only other thing that would actually be an explanation. I mean, obviously humans haven't made this stuff. We can't even like sort out the water supply. I really doubt that we've made it. It just
loads of poo-poo in the water in the cities.
Like,
oh dear.
I don't know. It just seems like it's obviously made by someone else because it works.
I've got a song. Listen to this. I shaved with Occam's razor 'cause I let my beard grow, and as soon as I was squeaky clean I saw a UFO.
Oh, that's nice.
Do you like that?
I can't remember what Occam's razor is.
I know we can but it's one of those things that the UFO
the
guys
simplest
talk about.
explanation is usually the best one, or the law of parsimony, and everybody uses Occam's razor to try to say, well, you know, it's not going to be people from other civilizations, but the implication that is complicated is itself an anthropocentric framing of stuff. You're framing other civilizations like competence based on your own incompetence. So it seems like to say that no one could visit here is saying that everyone else in the infinite void is only basing their societies on setting fire to oil or explosives, which is just. I mean, why would that be the standard? That sounds more like a piece of ideology to me, that you're trying to justify the continued use of the oil industry and the military.
Yeah.
Not like, you know, to use like Occam's razor by saying that it's not UFOs is actually it's against it, isn't it? Because you're making more assumptions, abstractions than the idea that maybe it's just what it looks like, which is UFOs.
Yeah. But the thing is, right? It's Halloween, so we're talking about UFOs, but that's not the only thing that's real. Because let me tell you this, kids, when you get into bed tonight, ghosts are real. The monsters in your cupboard and the monsters under the bed, they are real. Those weird things you saw when you were a kid were real. And when your kid comes in the room saying, Mama, there's someone under my bed, there is. And I don't know what they are. People in the Arab world call them jinn, mischievous things that like to cause mischief and have fun and be naughty ghosts, poltergeists, I guess we call them here. But since the 14th century, there's been a project called Disenchantment,
aka neoliberalism,
which has propagated mainly in the West. And we've all, as a collective, as we grow up and we get told everything is in straight lines and so on, we lose our ability to see. And if you open your eyes, then you'll see the monster in the cupboard. But you might find that you can have a really interesting conversation with it. You can ask where it comes from, what it knows about the world, and what it knows about society.
Going to be anywhere near as bad as the majority of people in power at this particular
the monster under your bed is going to be nowhere near as like evil and toxic and without morals as Kier Starmer.
All of them.
Jesus, man. What about this?
Pretty much, isn't it? The chainsaw guy.
Yeah,
Like, obviously obviously Netanyahu.
But what would imagine?
The bloke who can't keep his mouth shut, Ben Gvir.
But imagine you were asleep and you woke up in the middle of the night and you could hear like this rustling, and you're in a room with like another bed in it, in a hotel room with another bed in it that's unoccupied, and you think you can hear sheets rustling, so you look over at the bed and nothing, there's no movement, and then you realise it's coming from under you, and you peep under the bed and you just hear this sound. The solution to our problems is economic growth. Israel has a right to defend itself. And you wake up in the night and Kier Starmer is under your bed, is the monster trying to justify genocide under your bed. And that, I think, is what Kier Starmer does. He doesn't sleep, because I've wondered how he sleeps at night. He doesn't sleep at night. He goes into people's houses, hides under children's beds, and tries to justify genocide to himself, whilst also draining the psychic energy of the children.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
And also trying to justify...
he's a nice man.
Driving lots of disabled people into complete poverty, but...
yeah, he's a nice man.
Yeah, what a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a nice man.
Is.
Why would he fancy you? He's a nice man.
A nice bloke.
Yeah. So it's been spooky. I've seen so much spooky stuff in my life,
and none of it is as spooky as any of the recent governments.
Yeah,
I am way more afraid of that. Like, the only time I was really scared of a UFO was because I thought it was actually the government coming to bomb my house.
Yes, that was one of our most extraordinary UFO sightings. And Lottie got scared because they thought it was the government coming to get us.
To be fair, it did look like it was going to hit the house.
It did.
It was skying.
But we also initially thought the bright blue lights in the woods could be like police torches.
But it was. But then.
But why would the police then have torches that were like police cars?
Over the top of woods.
Yeah.
But then it was like a liquid jelly that dripped over the top of the trees and went down into the swamp. But you know, I'm lying, because that is really what I want, right? As an autistic female, sort of impoverished bisexual who's only interests and skill sets are things that nobody will ever employ me for.
Yeah.
What I really want is to be taken even less seriously than I already am.
Yeah. So the reality is that it's all real. How many of your friends have seen ghosts? Almost all of them. They're telling the truth, or is everybody insane?
Well, every single person's having really acute psychosis.
Yeah. And why do we wait for the government to tell us certain things are real? What is their authority over the nature of reality?
Yeah, exactly. And the more that you wait around for the state to tell you it's real, the more you're saying that they've got the authority about what your reality actually looks like. And I don't know. We watched that film. I watched a relatively decent film the other day called Arrival, which was an alien invasion film about these big hand things.
The hand man.
And the idea was that they give a sort of road mark of their language, which, if you understand it, makes you sort of perceive time and reality differently, which is true, isn't it? I mean, that's how it works. You're like Wittgenstein said, the limits of my language mean the limits of my world. By that, he meant that language kind of creates your reality, and sort of, most people are walking around with a phone right in front of them, and their entire reality is shaped exclusively by this kind of relationship with the phone.
Yep, your phone is boring and there's no ghosts.
If you
in there.
notice, for the last several years, we've been having an argument about very semantic sort of definitions over lots of people being killed in Gaza. And I don't understand why there isn't just a sort of first principle, thou shalt not kill kind of basis to society, but apparently everybody else uses a completely different language and their reality is constructed completely differently.
And that is spooky.
It's a way of seeing.
Yeah,
and it creates,
that is spooky.
It creates certain things that people notice and certain things that people don't.
Yeah.
And people, you know, I don't know, as an example, most people want, a lot of people leave this country and go away on holidays so they don't see how dirty and gross it is. So,
Look. Oh, the telephone's ringing. Who must it be?
I think it must be the collagist and radio DJ and brilliant sonic inventor, Jon Nelson.
Well, I've done a show which focuses on I do sound collage. First I was a sound collage artist, and then I immediately detoured into doing a radio show about other people who do sound collage, because I was collecting so many records by people like you and people like us, speaking of which. And I think you've worked with Vicky in the past. I have a record with the two of you anyway. But I had collected so many of these albums that I needed to do something with them, and that's what I chose to do, is I started a show. And over 300 episodes later, here we are.
Amazing.
Did it begin on a university?
You still hear me okay?
Yeah. There was a couple of crowds, but it's fine. Did it begin on like a university station and then expand out from there? Or?
Originally, it was a streaming station. We were streaming on my college stations overnight, and since it was an AM station and they went off the air at whenever the sun went down, it was internet only. And eventually they put us on the air, and from there I syndicated it to other stations, and at our peak we were on 6 stations in the US and Canada, and at the end 2, which seems like a failure, but considering the content, I always felt really good about it. You know?
Yeah, considering the content and the external context of encroaching neoliberalism. Yes. In America, you have, I don't know what the situation is now, but you, as far as I'm aware, you have this slightly different law as regards, like, do you still have like the fair use idea in America?
Well, that's the idea. I don't know. I honestly have no idea how it all holds up in court, and I've never been a big enough fish to have to worry about it.
So, with the way that I see it is that we, at the point we're at in history, we are in this unique position where we have this access to this remarkable body of stuff, of recorded sound, of moving image. And that's a historical anomaly. We've never ever had that before. And our culture is vast and complex and full of sounds and noises which are thrown at you wherever you walk. If you go into any sort of vaguely urban area, you have, the sound of whatever music, is deciding to be played on the shop radio, and then whatever on the next shop radio, and the sound of adverts, and then making us psychologically associate a particular piece of historical music with a particular product. And to me, as a society, we never really consented to any of that. And given that we're at this point wherein we have access to this amazing sort of repository, and sort of harking back to the original idea of the internet, when we all thought it was going to be a big exciting library, but everybody seems to have gone with the idea that no, we shouldn't as a culture be able to access and dissect
the materials of the past, and we're in a unique position to do so. And I don't know, it seems to me like an encroachment of the human right to say that we can't make music out of the past. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that kind of...
No, I think that's the starting point right there. I think Mark Hosler of the band Negative Land said something similar, which is that, in the old days we would sit and we would look at trees and flowers and waterfalls, and if we had a camera or a paintbrush, we would paint a picture of it, and no one would argue that was not our right. And now we sit in a courtyard with someone's AM radio going, and yesterday a lady walked by me with a stereo on her shoulder blasting, but I'm not allowed to reference any of that, even though it's part of my experience. I'm living with it. It's my life. It's my life. Why can't I do something with this? How can you tell me not to? If I'm here and I'm recording my experience, I think that's essentially what you're saying, yeah.
And copy and the fair use was there to. I just looked it up. It's to. I'm supposed to be the expert,
right? But I had to look it up, and I know you are an expert as well. It's for purposes of criticism.
I don't have to look anything up.
Yeah, it's for purposes of criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, or research. Well, what I do is most of those things. And what the copyright holders, who are extraordinarily wealthy in most cases, are saying is that, no, you are the consumer. You can look, but that's all. Nothing more. And I've just always disagreed with that and gone with my gut, and I've done as Thoreau taught me in high school. And
what was it? Thank God for editing.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Oh, civil disobedience.
Yes.
Civil disobedience.
I know it's against the law.
I know it's against the law. I'm afraid it's against the law. I don't know if it is, because really it's been proven that it isn't, but in many cases it has been. So it's kind of always up in the air, like, is this legal or is it not? And it's really up to every single different case that happens, and it's just a matter of time, If someone were to try and shut me down, I'm sure they could. I'm absolutely sure they could, because I have no real power. And if the current era that we're living in hasn't proven that, I don't know
what it's done.
But, ultimately, what's the, what would be the end point anyway of if somebody like you or I, who doesn't make any money from any of this, a legal action against me, they could maybe fine me, but I ain't got the money. So what? They would throw me in prison for, like, Kylie Minogue. Does this happen? I don't think it does. And I think we live in this, like, especially the kids live in this climate of fear about it. I've noticed if you talk about sampling to, like, people under 30, they'll kind of go, oh, as if you've said something that's really, really rocking the boat.
Is anyone under 40? Like,
yeah, really? Under 40 maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
But they have this, it's just this myth that copyright law makes sure that artists make money. I mean, it doesn't. That's just not, that's not tangibly true. Artists have to go and play gigs or, go down the dock and wait for a bit of good luck if it was anything like my life, which is a metaphor.
Well,
most of the time, sometimes.
Yeah. Well, my father and I used to walk on the beach to see if we could find anything that had washed up from illicit practices. Yeah. Never succeeded.
No.
Is that right?
And so, I can't remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, but just the way that the young people seem to have totally accepted this, and they will speak to someone who's talking about sampling as if they're really breaking the law. It's like the young people
have got really into the law rather than what young people usually do, which is sort of flout the law a little bit, because they enjoy the phones and they enjoy the advertising. But then at the same time as all of this kind of outlawing of sample culture, the practice of cutting things up on YouTube is thriving as ever. I had a conversation with James VVM, who I speak to very, very occasionally, a few years back, and because looking at the way the sort of practices of the way people were treating material on YouTube at that point, it was similar to all of the VVM stuff, and its attitude was similar at that time, and there was a slightly punk attitude in this way that people were sort of destroying and reconstituting media on the internet. So I said to him, what does it feel like to have invented the 21st century? But unfortunately that was like a kind of small blip, and now of course everybody's making unboxing videos rather than sort of culture jamming. So I'm trying to sort of form that round to a question. But, well, I suppose the next thing that I would like to sort of ask you is how you feel the practice of using found materials reflects on the process of, like, the choices that you make while making a composition, in what ways it might open that out or change the ways that you think or whatever. So, like, the way that the interaction of sound sources can create new ideas, and your reflections upon that from many years of doing so.
You're talking about the process of improvisation. Is that what you're?
Improvisation.
What's the question?
Is that what you're? What's the question?
Yeah, the process of improvisation and the process of composition, which is, I guess it's the same thing. But yeah, it would be nice to hear the process by which you, and I know that the answer to these things is often more like metaphysical, but the process by which you kind of, you as a collagist yourself, the process by which you are making associations and the processes by which you make why you would make particular choices, or do you sometimes, I always do, like, just throw random things together to see what comes out, and if there's something interesting, like, what are your processes in making sound collage?
Well, I think whether it's this radio that I'm doing now or the records that I used to focus on exclusively and haven't made a new one in forever, and I don't know why. I think I'm a little stuck. It's always the same thing, and that is let's start there. I almost always start with the materials, and that's something's inspired me. An old record, a movie,
the soundtrack from a television program,
and I will just sit and listen to it over and over and over. The same way a visual collage artist will sit and look at their material spread out before them on a desk and just start to see connections that they hadn't seen, and start to like the connections that they're now seeing, and start to push those connections and add more materials which will further those connections and make them seem stronger and more obvious. And often what you end up with in the end is something which to the viewer or the listener might appear as if it was always designed to come together in this way, and it never was. That's the collage artist's creation, and that's the magic that happens with time. So
yeah.
Does that answer?
Yeah, that's great. I'm always really interested. I'm always really interested in that moment when there's this moment. I've talked with Vicky Bennett a lot about this as well. The moment when you sort of slam things together, and then when something crystallizes, this sort of weird alchemical moment, which is just pure chance, but this moment where you go, oh, that's nice, and then I guess it's the same as like looking at something in nature and that triggering an idea for a painting. You hear a juxtaposition of 2 or 3 fragments of sound played simultaneously, and then there's just layers and layers of associations inside them. Like, I kind of think of collage, especially sound collage, as like a sort of 4 or 5 dimensional medium, because it isn't just the sonic objects themselves, is it, that make the composition? It's their historical associations, which you can sort of foreground or background. And yeah, so I mean, it's a massive subject, and it's a real travesty to me that this is generally kind of being outlawed globally, but also that young people in the information overload age don't have access to it. And I guess the next thing I would like to ask you is, do you this phenomenon that is happening now? I don't know how much you've noticed it, but it appears that lots of work which was in the public domain is no longer in the public domain. Do you know anything about this and the mechanism by which people can buy things that were on publicly?
Exactly what I was thinking of. I noticed an example with...
And it's kind of what I was saying too.
Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead. What was it?
Well, just a lot of the... I've noticed that a lot of sort of old trad jazz standards and so on, which are definitely in the public domain, are now owned by random companies.
Suddenly people can't see them on the internet.
It's very strange.
Lottie got a nice warning from YouTube for playing some Beethoven, which is now owned by EMI.
Yeah, and Mozart.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, do you have any observations about this wild cultural phenomenon of people being able to buy the past, or?
It must be a specific recording of Beethoven.
Yes.
Well,
it can't be the composition.
Well, it must be, but it.
Yeah, it comes up as a specific recording.
But
it's all.
But it's a recording of Lottie playing the piano, and apparently the recording must be very similar to the recording that EMI released of the Beethoven piece, and it was flagged up as EMI's recording and couldn't be put on the internet.
On the plus side, that does mean that I can trick the algorithm to think it's as good as someone who gets paid to do the same thing. Yeah. So on the plus side, but it's all definitely in public domain. So
Well, congratulations on. Congratulations on being so good that you've been confused for someone famous and who wants to hold on to their copyright. I wonder if that is that AI? Because I have a friend with a podcast who's told me, and I won't say his name, though I would love to, because I don't want to put any pressure on him. But what he's told me is that recently, thanks to AI, they've been getting way more of this type of thing. Copyright holders out of the blue, just like, how in the world are they even finding this? And it's got to be AI. They're hearing a snippet of something and saying, "Oh, that sounds very much like something I've recorded. You better stop immediately." And they don't even check to see if it's true first. And I wonder if that's what's happened with you in this Beethoven recording.
And also the other consistent thing between what you guys are saying and is YouTube. Is it YouTube? Because I'm not on YouTube.
Yeah.
I would.
Because I'm not on YouTube. I would be, but I just never figured out how to do it, and I think that's the problem spot.
Yeah, I just think YouTube is the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And AI.
I have a big problem with AI.
Yeah. I really would like to talk to you about AI. First of all, just tell me your feelings about this new wondrous phenomenon.
About AI, or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was the question, Ergo? I'm sorry.
Just your what would you say, if you had to make a précis of what your feelings about AI are? How do you feel about the AI revolution as regards art?
Well, I think it's deeply troubling. And up until recently, I've been very, very, very anti-it, just as a sort of a knee-jerk reaction. And lately I've found a friend or two, people who I admire, who are using it. And so I've been trying to reel it in, because I don't want to hurt their feelings. But I don't like it at all. I and maybe that's because I'm old. I don't know. What do younger people think? Are they embracing it?
As far as I know, everyone embraces it. But the very young generation, like my middle daughter is 18, and like her generation down are really just starting to reject the phone and the internet altogether. They're all getting brick phones. They call them like old style phones. So I think that they're just rejecting it, not really interested in it. But the generation, I guess what they call Gen Z and Gen X, these kind of generations, to use the internet speak,
millennials,
they're very into it. And young men, apparently AI girlfriends are a very popular thing. They will.
Oh my God.
We keep getting advertisements for them.
The state of it is
and
bad.
they say things like, I'm just like a real girl except with none of the drama. And they say to them, whatever you say to them, they'll reply, that's a brilliant idea. All your friends must think you're great. And apparently among the kind of under 20s males in this country, it's a real problem.
Dear.
And they're not going out and meeting girls because they're sat talking to these
I don't know, maybe that's for the best.
computer graphics.
I can't work it out whether it's good or not. It might be good.
Well, yeah, I mean, it could have some benefits there. But another thing I wanted to talk about was... I don't know whether you saw the story...
Go ahead.
That Ralph Hutter from Kraftwerk had the law changed in Europe recently, because we used to have some, well, it was never clear what it was, but you can sample such and such of amount of music in a context where people can recognize who it is. There was like some 2-second rule or something. But your man from Kraftwerk made some big legal case recently, and now in Europe you are not allowed to sample anything. But the exception is that if you're like a rich person signed to a record label, they can clear all the licensing, and you can sample whatever you want. You also mentioned it on like a racial level. Well, where sampling originates in hip hop. Access to those sounds was made possible by sampling. So you are taking this huge tool away from, like, what is it called? Underprivileged communities and things like that. Taking a whole language away.
It's also, obviously, if you... it's a good way of ensuring that there's no references to politics come up in, or I don't know, any... If you can remove all cultural references to anything else, how do you have any sort of standing up for anything? So
every new work of art has to exist
in
the void
entirely.
now.
Right.
And so I'd like to...
it's worse than that. It's even worse than that, though.
It's what it is it's like, hey, all of you underprivileged communities and everyone, we would like you to buy these very expensive machines that we have made and made available for you. And we want you to pay top dollar for them. We want every one of you to own these machines. But
don't use them the way they are designed, because if you do, we will fuck you.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I forgot this is radio.
If you use this machine the way we have designed it to, we will destroy you. We just want you to buy the machine, damn it. That's it. I think that's my message.
That is it. And everyone, but I think this is the problem, particularly with like some of the younger generation, is that they've just accepted this exchange, and they think it's a reasonable exchange. Whereas the reality of that exchange is you buy something and then you buy something else.
And they tend to do...
I wonder, though, you keep saying it's the younger.
What, sorry?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Well, with the...
See, there's this lag, I'm afraid.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
I with one of these machines, they tend to have a lot of planned obsolescence built into them. I had a digital piano, and it managed to break every 5 years before the warranty came up. So I'm assuming that's across all of like Roland products and stuff.
Yeah, so we can all just keep everything.
Make sure it constantly breaks. Yeah. So you have to.
And look at how
the programs that I'm using to create the two main programs that I use to create. I have to pay a monthly fee
to continue to use them.
Yes.
So,
I mean, I used to have to pay to buy the disc, which was already very high, and now I have to pay.
I have never done the math, but I'm paying every month for it.
I'm dependent on them to create, is what I'm saying, and I don't like that at all.
No.
I watch videos on YouTube of people working with wood, and I just about want to start crying because my great-grandfather was a joiner, and part of me fantasizes about going back to that and just doing that. I just want to work with wood again. What is with all this? I'm very proud of what I've made. I really am, but I don't know if I can keep doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I can afford to keep doing it, for one thing. And it's very irritating to have to acknowledge that the wealthy can just do whatever they want, and to
get back to a point you were talking about earlier with AI. You were asking...
The question you asked was, how has AI influenced, how is this changing the copyright debate? And that's right. You had said,
how do I view, how have things changed? And in my opinion, it seems like things are much freer now, which I was afraid to say because I didn't want to argue with you, and it sounded like you were saying that that's not the case. Like, younger people seem to be trying to back it up, and I don't know.
The feeling I have is that
it's
anything goes nowadays. And a big part of the reason why that is because of AI. I mean, we're all aware that AI is being pushed upon us. I mean, by someone. Who is it that says AI is now such a big part of the equation? I don't know who decided that, but it was like a few months ago, all of a sudden, AI was everywhere. And you had to use it. You had to love it. And there was a big pushback against it.
They don't care. They're just going to keep pushing it in our faces until we all accept it and love it.
Well, fine. Some of my friends have, and I guess I don't want to judge them for that. But for me, I absolutely refuse to use it. Maybe it's my ego. I want to take full credit for what I did. I did not use AI. This is all my I. And I don't know. But anyway, back to what I was saying.
I actually saw... Because the big question is, and the thing that irritated me the most about AI originally was that people were looking at guys like me and saying, well, you're probably just fine with it, aren't you? Because, it's just sampling. Every single recorded instance of everything is all on the internet. And let's not even go visual. Let's just talk about audio. It's all on the internet. It's there for anyone to use. And
just pull from it. Let the computer do whatever it wants. All you got to do is punch in.
Here's what I want to sound, and then from what my understanding of it is,
it'll send something back, and then you'll say, "Well, that's fine, but let's round the corners off of this and add a little bit more something there." And the point is,
what is it doing? It's pulling from all these different sources, these pre-existing sources. In other words, not your work, someone else's work. And so people were looking at me and saying, well, this is right up your alley. You must be all for this. And I'm not. Because it's not the same. The computer's doing the work. I'm just telling it what to do. I'm the master in this situation. I'm the boss. I'm not the artist. That's how I see it. And the thing that I was trying to get to, but it's early and I'm still waking up, is that I have actually heard, or I actually saw an interview, I want to say it was with some CEO at Sony or one of these big companies, who said, well, you know, I think that the days of worrying about copyright are over because of AI. You know, it's all free for anyone to take and use however they want. But what he was really saying was that it's all free and there for anyone to take as long as they're using our programs that we are forcing on them to use. But if you want to make a sound collage, you better not, because that's still off the table. Why? I mean, if your AI program that you're forcing me to use relies on copyright being abolished, you know, if that's a side effect of AI, then maybe I'm for it.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, yeah, maybe it will culminate in that kind of thing, and everybody going towards like a Creative Commons kind of thing. Because the thing is, the stupid thing about sampling is that if you're sampling something and it's a really familiar thing, if you're sampling a Rolling Stones riff, you're not saying that you made the Rolling Stones riff. Everybody knows the Rolling Stones riff, and so you're not saying you own it. You are visibly referencing it, like people do in academia. You know, you have to reference things in academia to prove things, and it's a reference in that sense, and that goes back to the kind of idea that it could have been used when the internet first came about. It could have been the basis of education. People raid history, recontextualize it, find their own ways through it, and then you wouldn't have ended up at the post-truth age where we are now.
Oh my God.
Where everybody thinks that because there's an AI image, it's real, and it's dreadful, isn't it? God, I don't know where to go from there, but isn't it dreadful?
Yes.
We actually, at the beginning of AI, I was like, right, I'm going to look at this. If there's a new technology comes up, I'm going to be curious. I'm going to see what it is. And so we made an opera set design with it. We designed a production of Stravinsky's The Rake's Progress in Florence and in London using it. But the reason that we used it was, and I would never use it now, but the reason we used it then was it was really imperfect.
Yeah,
so the instant,
when it was like that.
so it could generate. So I was working on the basis of it can generate an image which is kind of a stock image, but then you can outpaint from that image and suggest something, and basically suggesting things that it didn't understand, and then it came up with really interesting, surprising results. But over time, they kind of refined their models, and now if you type something that might confuse it, like draw me make me a room in the style of Vermeer, but the entire room has become a Mobius strip, it will just like make a picture of the room with a Mobius strip above it, rather than trying to interpret this like more complex instruction. So when it was like fuckety and wrong, it had potential as being interesting, because I've always been really interested in things. It's the reason that really I use sampling. I'm interested in finding things and finding combinations of things that I wouldn't think of, because my head is just always full of music. And so I always wanted to find things I couldn't think of. And the so-called AI art at the beginning of it really enabled that, because it didn't work properly. But the instant it did what they wanted to do, it became a completely useless tool for me. So you can make like digital robot ladies or stuff that looks like Jehovah's Witness art. I haven't really seen anything else.
You can always tell. I think we're still in early days with AI. Whenever I see it, I know it almost immediately. And there's been a terrible ripple effect from there where sometimes when I see bad art, I assume it's AI.
I don't know.
Like I said, I have friends who use it, and I don't want to hurt their feelings. And I don't want to discourage anyone from being creative in any way. So I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah. I mean, there's all
Keep
the
my opinion
inherent
to myself for
problems.
the
It's
most
causing
part,
people to be illiterate in this country.
Sorry?
It is causing illiteracy in things already. People are like forgetting how to write in this country because people are using ChatGPT for everything. It's pretty much destroyed the university system.
Yeah.
Because something like 90% of submissions are ChatGPT. I see it maybe ultimately it's a tool that will completely destroy society and then we can build a lovely new one.
That seems like the end game to me. I'm maybe being a little pessimistic, but I absolutely worry about that. I mean, I'm looking at the patterns and I'm seeing this isn't going to end well. This isn't going anywhere good.
And I don't know if there's anything we can do to stop it. That's pessimistic.
No, I mean, there isn't anything we can do to stop it, but at the same time, I think as artists, we should just live in contradiction of it. I think as artists, we need to live in contradiction of this basic idea that we need to follow the progress of technology, which is ultimately just following the progress of capitalism. So we were just talking about AI, copyright law, how maybe this might change the whole approach to copyright law. Maybe, but could you define, as if for a listener who might think otherwise, what is different between music made with human intervention and music made purely by the internet?
It's all the difference in the world. There's almost no comparison at this point. I mean, maybe in the future there will be a point where the systems have evolved to a point where it can be more human. But as I understand
and
it,
also I should admit that I am ignorant because I have not experimented.
On principle, I have no idea how these AI systems work except for what I've been told, and my understanding at the moment is that you're basically the AI is like a robot who says, "Hey, what can I do for you today?" And I say, "Well, I would like to see a painting done in the style of Bosch,
and I want these colors,
and these scenes, and
maybe put a dog in it,
and then I'm going to get something back." And
it's going to be the robot saying, "Is this what you had in mind?" And I'm going to say, "Yeah, except, let's get rid of the dog and put a cat in instead. And I was wrong about purple. Let's use orange." And then I'm going to get a cat picture back. Oh, how is that me collaborating? I mean, it is technically. I'm collaborating with the robot. Fine. But, bleh.
I don't see how that...
Does that answer your question?
Do you see anywhere, because I mean I certainly do, but do you see anywhere the process of making a sound collage do you see that as a collaboration with the computer or the tape machine or whatever anyway?
No, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that. I'm not collaborating with my computer at all. The computer is...
Was Charles Schultz collaborating with his pencil? No.
That's a very lovely way of putting it. I find sometimes that, it's the collage principle of if you throw two bits of paper next to each other on a page, something interesting might appear out of this chance thing, but the paper isn't collaborating with you, is it? It's actually your consciousness, your sense of history and your environment that is collaborating with the collagist, I guess.
Right. And whoever created the photograph that is on the picture, that is in the one photograph and the other photograph, those two photographers are not collaborating with me when I use their images. It's something different, you know. I might be respecting their work. I might be horribly disrespecting it, but either way, I'm not collaborating with that artist.
Yeah.
It's something different.
Yeah. I'm always very curious about this thing that people talk about, like, well, are you respecting the work? Or are you being disrespectful? I personally, I'm not fond of, sound collage stuff that's sort of mocking its source material, usually because it's not as good as its source material. But what were we talking about? My brain is on low battery.
Respecting the...
Oh yeah, this thing of are we respecting the artist? Are we honouring the artist by using their work in this composition? Well, why do we need to talk like this? None of these people are gods, you know? This is all just people who made stuff, you know? And people who make stuff, people have made stuff all the way through history, and maybe if you could sort of reflect upon the how do you see sound collage as related to the general practice of musical composition? Do you see it as a separate thing, or part of it, or an extension of it, or what are your thoughts on sound collage as a compositional?
I think that's what it is. I mean, it's a we're composing using bits and pieces of things we've heard elsewhere, as opposed to. Here's how I look at it. First and foremost, I am an editor. That's really all I am at the end of the day. I remember in college, and I did go to art school, foolishly. From a financial perspective, that was a huge mistake. Who spends thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to go into business making nothing? But anyway, I did go to art school, and I remember in art school how there was a huge resistance in the 90s, anyway, that's when I was there. Nobody wanted to call themselves an artist. They felt like it was pretentious. And so anyway, at the end of the day, whether I'm an artist or not, I am an editor.
Oh, come on.
Felt like it was pretentious. And so I am an editor. Yeah. Is this still recording?
Yes, you went out for a moment there, but I think we got it all. Yeah, I remember this time very well. I think we're maybe kind of the same age. I'm like 45. And the idea of describing yourself as an artist was really frowned upon, you know, and was, you're an artist, are you?
I remember.
Yeah.
And well, we live in England, so it's a little bit like that anyway.
It's like that all the time.
But it was particularly hardcore. But I don't know how else to describe what I am, you know. I don't know any other.
Actually, because of that, I only started describing myself as an artist probably sometime last year, maybe the year before, because of this attitude.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't even know that I was an artist because I'd grown up with lots of people telling me that it was evil.
But I think it's because it's been sort of relegated to this position for subhumans like me in society. But artists are the people who make the first draft of history. Artists are, and all of us are artists, you know, no matter what it is that, if you're working with sound or image or whatever, we are, and there's always been artists. And it's actually time for artists to start sort of like being a bit more, hey, hang on a minute about this. Especially when, you know, it's a situation where lawmakers can remove the potential for entire sort of cultural scenes and epochs, which they literally have done by making sampling such a terrible issue. Would the world have been a better place without Grandmaster Flash on the wheels of steel? No. I don't know where I'm going with that.
Well, where I was going with that was just that at some point, and actually, I'll pat myself on the back. It was relatively quick. I remember I had that sort of confrontational perspective even back then. I was going to say punk, but that sounds a little like I'm glorifying it. But I remember at the time saying, "Look, I'm not putting myself up on their pedestal. I'm knocking their pedestal over. You know, I'm bringing them down to my level." It's like, ooh, Picasso. No, I mean, we know now this guy was really just a regular guy. And hugely flawed. But he made some interesting work too, and I admire the work. So no, I'm not putting myself up on anyone else's level. I'm knocking them all down to our level. And that's what I have always done. So yes, I'm an artist, for crying out loud. I've always been an artist since I was 8 years old. And I just thought it was weird to be in art school and to talk about being an artist and have people look at me like I was being pretentious. I'm sorry, but it seems very pretentious to me that you want to challenge me. We're in art school. If we're not artists, what the F are we, you know? Anyway. But I forget how we even got to that point. Oh, at the end of the day, whether you want to call me an artist or not, I'm an editor. You know, I want to get like a tattoo of a razor blade, but someone would think that I was in a bad place. Or maybe some scissors, you know. I'm an editor. At the end of the day, that's all I am. Oh, I know why I was talking about this. Because at the end of the day, what I need is material to manipulate. I have to have this material to change. And as a writer, what that means is I write a bunch of nonsense, a bunch of garbage first. And then I go through that and I cherry pick the parts that made a lick of sense. And I make a collage of my own thoughts. And then people think that I'm brilliant or funny or not as stupid as I am, because I've made it look much more interesting than it was. And speaking of which, I hope you'll let me edit this interview. Yeah. Because I'm not so sure how I'm coming across.
Yeah, no.
But anyway, sure. I need that material first to edit. And that's so. Yeah, I'm composing with. That was the question you were asking. Is sound collage composition? Of course it is. The difference is, I'm taking other people's. In my case. And in many others, I'm taking other people's output first and using that as the material to manipulate, as opposed to playing music and notes on an instrument and or composing ahead of time by telling myself what to create, what sounds to make on those instruments.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes perfect sense. And so, this thing that when you play a piano, you record a piano, and then you have that recording of a piano as a composer, then you put that into the digital environment, and you can manipulate it and cut it up, etc., etc. And to me, that process is the same musical process as when you work with sampling. And maybe we could say that we shouldn't be recording pianos because the inventor of the piano is not getting any of those royalties. And I think that's kind of equivalent to what we're looking at. Somebody invented the piano, so you lot can't record it.
But the inventor of the piano can't get royalties because under the fair use policy it's technically still a harpsichord. So
that's true. Yeah, that is true. It's just a very to me, because I went off the internet for about 2 years because I hate it, and then when I came back on the internet, everything had changed, and it wasn't just the fact that it had changed, but it was that everybody's attitude to it had changed, and people have this almost religious idea drummed into them that having this really limited idea of copyright law, which basically only protects Bono, is gonna sort of ensure their future as Korean musicians. It's been like just really good to talk to someone who feels a similar way. Obviously, Vicky feels much the same way, and just as vexed. And there's sort of philosophical questions regarding the kind of language that goes about terms like cultural appropriation and so on, which seems to imply that as a sonic artist you are supposed to be only influenced by the culture that is directly around you. So as sonic artists, it's just white culture that we're allowed to raid now. So I don't know, some Beethoven, Morris dancing,
steak and kidney pie.
Yeah.
What else? Really awful television programs about
sitcoms
about living in a suburb.
Yeah. And I made this piece, 1,000 Year Mix, in like 2004 or something like that, which was sort of celebrating the early internet. Isn't it great that we can put all these disparate ideas together, and we can sort of hear cultures and time dancing with each other, and sort of I feel with sampling that. Somewhere in the ether, these, ghosts of different musical traditions can joyously interact and dance. But the culture says that we should be separating everything, even into musical boxes of nationality, not just genre, but nationality, because now we live in this world where everybody is suddenly supposed to be really nationalistic and patriotic. And I don't know, I think that the sampling in the late part of the 20th century is probably the closest iteration, especially in the days of like early hip hop, the closest iteration we have to like a folk music thing, bringing communities together, bringing people together to invent and so on. And now we've got a situation where kids haven't got any public space, so they can't make bands. But they can't grab a beat and freestyle over the top of it either. So the implication is, before some kid who's got his head full of rhymes, the implication is that he has to learn MIDI sequencing before he can, before he can do his work. And it's like, to me it seems like a robbery, and the AI question is obviously part of that. And when I see like Jimmy Page complaining about it, if Jimmy Page lost a few royalties, well, he'll just have to get one less baby to sacrifice or something in his amazing Satanist house, but it won't affect him in the long term. And yeah, I just think that the young generation need to know that like they live in this like remarkable moment in history where all this stuff is there, and really we shouldn't have to pay for anything, really. I'm one of them. I think money's ridiculous and made up. That's why it avoids me. I'm probably not reaching any good point here, but
Well, I liked what you said earlier. Basically, how there's two concepts came to mind which I was able to hold, which my ADHD adult mind was able to hold, and still listen to what you were saying, and that is there's a cross pollination which can happen.
yes,
That cross-pollination is something to be celebrated. And the other thing that made me think about was there's a term, I think, not only cross-pollination, but also rotating the crops, you know.
You keep trying to pull the same thing from this field over and over and over and over, and eventually the field says, there's nothing left to give. And so you have to rotate the crops in order to bring something new out of this same field. And the
wonderful side benefit of that is that maybe somewhere down the road, that same field will again give you the original crop that you were so excited about. Cross-pollination and rotating the crops are two concepts that come back to me over and over. Oh, I know what I was saying. With mashups.
And I know you're not a mashup artist per se, and I'm not for sure. I don't know the first thing about that.
But, except that I know what I like.
And I know that the reason I like a good mashup is because usually what it's doing is it's rotating the crops on a song that I am overly familiar with. Something that I used to love. And now I almost can't stand it anymore because I've heard it way too much. But hey, some punk comes along and adds something completely different that I never would have combined it with. And all of a sudden I love that old song again. And this new song that's being added on top of it is, you know.
I don't know, it's neither here nor there maybe, or sometimes I've found a new favorite song.
But I did this recently for myself, and it wasn't a mashup, but it was a collage. And it was for a radio show I was doing, and it's an old concept that they've been doing in radio since the 80s, if not longer. And that is where the song, you know, everyone loves the song and loves it, but then they added some little sprinkling of something on top of it and really brought something out of this old song that
was not there originally. And I'll tell you the truth.
When I added that 5 seconds of somebody talking from a movie on top of this old song, I actually shed a tear. It made me so happy, I cried. And that's what art's supposed to do. It's supposed to make you feel something.
Well, I did.
Yep.
And the powers that be would say, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't make yourself cry. Don't make yourself so happy. Don't make anyone happy. Unless we're making money at the same time.
Hasn't this been a wild whirlwind adventure through the possibilities of radio. You can come to our workshops as part of Sound Art Radio's marvellous Listen Play experiment programme. See the Sound Art website for details. We've had it all in this programme, haven't we, Lottie? We've had it all. We've had who our favourite dictator was and how, when you solved the riddle of how to ingratiate yourself with said dictator. Oh. We had an interview with Jon Nelson. We had spooky conversation.
Yep. Oh,
we had Taaaahhm Jones, and we're going to have more.
Jones. We've also had a period of time that has lapsed throughout the making of the show, in which time a major Category 5 hurricane has ripped through most of the Caribbean as a result of the accumulated effects of climate change, as a result of the accumulative effects of colonialism, and I just feel it's a little bit unfair that it's been imposed on the population, and they're also feeling the effects, so that's also happened.
Yeah, someone said some climate change denialism to me not long ago, and I said, look, put it this way, and this is all you have to say to climate change deniers. The Earth has an atmosphere, so consider the Earth to be a room. If you were in a room and you burn a load of stuff, then that room, you're going to have to get out of that room or stop burning stuff and open the windows. Well, but what if there is no windows? There are no windows in this room of Earth. But also, while we have been recording this, 3I Atlas, the 33 billion ton astral body zooming through space, went into perihelion with the sun.
And Israel's still bombing Gaza.
Yeah, they've restarted that.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you bomb within the globe that you live in, that seems like a really bad idea, but, maybe that's just me. Well, hopefully 3i Atlas will have something to say about all of this.
Hey, you know what? I think maybe we shouldn't play out with more Taaaahhm Jones, as I was planning. Oh, I should mention, we did have some of the North Korean Moranbong Band there as well. That's what that classy band was. I think we should play out with my new composition, Perihelion, for the 3i Atlas, because on the FM airwaves, well, I think that those non-human intelligences, they can hear very clearly over the FM.
We should, given the track record of the human race at present, I think we should just start referring to them as intelligences, to be honest.
Yep, intelligences. Excellent. Okay. Well, for the intelligences, here is Perihelion, or some of it. This has been Dr. Ergo Phizmiz.
And I'm Lottie, or Depresstival, aka the Oracle of Delphi remote. You can look me up on Instagram and ask me generalised advice about whatever you want, really.
Yes, you're all beautiful, my little kittens. We love you so much. See you next week.